Good morning, everyone. Hope you're having a fantastic day. I'm Jonathan Little. Good morning, good morning, good morning to you. It's bright and early. It's a hectic world right now. So today, we're going to be discussing hoping for the best, but planning for the worst. And I think what a lot of people do wrong in life is either one of the two. Either they are incredibly pessimistic and they always think things are doom and gloom, or alternatively, they are the opposite. They are overly optimistic and think that there is nothing wrong ever and that everything's going to be perfect. And I think in reality, we are somewhere in between. Why is there a white line here? Maybe that'll fix it. One second, everyone. Being nitpicky here. All right. So, I think that especially in poker, it is highly important that you realize that there is going to be a lot of variance, inevitably. And I think people don't quite realize this, but that is the same in life. For example, take this virus incident that's happening right now. A month ago, nobody thought this was going to be happening at all, most likely. Yet, here we are, right? And it's important to realize that it kind of is crazy out there, to some extent. And you have to be prepared. Not just when things are obviously going poorly, but before things are obviously going poorly. Good example of this is in business, right? In a lot of people's business, they just presume things are going to keep going the way they're going. I am kind of the opposite of that. I'm always realizing that I'm pretty fortunate and that things, in theory, could collapse at any point in time. And if you know that's the case, what do? Well, you accumulate other skills, right? And you also stockpile money so that whenever things do go poorly, you'll be A-okay. And if you think about it, that actually sounds a whole lot like what professional poker players should be doing, right? So, in the meantime, for current real-world situations, realize that you should probably be stocking up on essential things just in case life goes really crazy, right? Things aren't actually really crazy yet; they're just kind of crazy. But things could get really crazy. Like, for example, if people will no longer be able to deliver food to you, right? That might be a big problem. What if the water stops working for some reason? That would be a big problem, right? So you want to plan ahead for those things. I would tell you generally to trust medical professionals instead of random people on social media, instead of politicians. I would tell you to trust medical professionals when it comes to things relating to medicine. Just like I would suggest you trust poker players when it comes to things like poker. But you would not want to trust a poker player when it comes to things like virology, right? That would be really, really ridiculous. So, make sure you understand who the experts are in any individual field, and then find the good ones and trust them. The hard thing is it's kind of hard to find the good ones, but if you get a broad, if you have a lot of medical professionals that you listen to, then inevitably you'll start to see trends among the good winning ones and anti-trends among the slightly less good ones. Snoop says, "Congrats on my award." Yes, I won an award. We won an award. We won the Global Poker Awards People's Choice Poker Personality of the Year. Thanks to all of you. This was a category that you voted on. People only got to vote on 2 categories. And turns out I won one of them that you got to vote for. So thanks for that. Yeah, we're standing up today. We're mixing it up. Figured, why not? Did I get a stand-up desk? No, I've always had a stand-up desk. I know I'm not going to do a whole lot of standing today besides exactly a webinar I have going on for pokercoaching.com later today at 2 p.m. So I figured I'd stand up for a little while, get a little bit of stretching in. My wife may be working from home, so I figured she might be in my office all day, so if I'm stuck somewhere uncomfortable, I might as well be standing up while I can. Also, we're having a sale going on right now for pokercoaching.com for St. Patrick's Day. Head over to pokercoaching.com/lucky to get big discounts on, well, many of my products, including Poker Coaching and Poker Coaching Premium. Also, we're doing a giveaway starting today It's not available yet. Maybe I shouldn't even mention it. But I can tell you what we're going to do. We're going to give away $500 to one person, $500 cash. And then to 10 other people, we're going to give $100 each. So $1,500 spread among 11 lucky people. We will be releasing that on Twitter and Instagram at later today. So make sure you follow me there to check it out. It'll probably be pokercoaching.com/giveaway. So there you go. So as a professional poker player, if your goal is to be a professional poker player and not lose your bankroll, which is kind of similar to if you are a human and don't want to die from a virus, right? Because if you're a poker player and your bankroll goes to zero, you're basically dead. What should you do? Realize that your career depends on the decisions that you make. And not necessarily even your career once you have it, but your potential career in the future, right? So think about some things that you should do. First things first, get good at what you're doing, right? If you care about being a good poker player, become a good poker player. If you're a bad poker player, you're not going to succeed at poker. Sorry, I hate to break it to you. You are going to fail. Saved a lot of you a lot of time and effort there. If you're not going to study, if you're not going to devote time and energy to it, go do something else. Okay. Once you've determined to get good by studying, whenever you are studying, make sure you're studying good content. All of my content at pokercoaching.com has been vetted by me and my team of professionals, so make sure you check out that. You want to make sure you keep a big bankroll. This is something that has ensured that I, Jonathan Little, literally had almost no chance of going broke at any point in my career. And also, I'm going to have no chance of going broke in the future. And that is very, very important, assuming you don't want to lose your bankroll. They just compare playing poker well to avoiding the coronavirus. No, I don't think that's exactly what I did. But there are analogies here, right? You have to realize that if you don't know what you're doing, you're going to make mistakes. If you don't know what you're doing pertaining to viruses or driving a car or anything, right? Insert any job, you're going to make significant mistakes, right? So learn, study about the things that matter to you. Just make sure you are understanding what is actually important to you. You want to do standing desk for streaming as well. Sitting all the time is bad for you. Yeah, I pretty much always stand up when I'm making my videos, except for a little coffee, because I roll out of bed and I'm like, ugh, just want to relax, have a little bit of coffee. Let me know about the sound quality today. Microphone's in a slightly different spot. We will figure that out in the future, I suppose. And yes, I guess we are making the analogy of your life and your poker bankroll, right? Now, poker's a little bit different because if you do lose your entire bankroll, in theory, you could get a loan or something, whereas if you get sick and die, well, you're just dead and you probably aren't going to come back to life. So those are slightly different, but I do think it is important to play poker in a manner that makes it very difficult for you to go broke. In exchange, there's always a trade-off here, right? In exchange for not going broke, you will win less money. Usually. For example, let's say you're playing a poker game and you know that you need a 30 buy-in bankroll to have something like a 2% risk of ruin or 5% risk of ruin. Well, you could keep a 60 buy-in bankroll and maybe have like a 1% risk of ruin. So what's that 3% or 2% or 1% risk of ruin difference worth? Because you could be playing twice the size with a different bankroll. YouTube's buffering a lot today. Could be on my end. Well, my internet seems to be working great. It says I've dropped 0 frames. It's probably on YouTube's end. Usually if it says I've dropped no frames, it's usually not my problem. If I'm dropping frames left and right, it is my problem. And we actually have pretty good internet here, shockingly. So you need to make sure you keep a decently big bankroll. And if you don't, your risk of ruin is going to go up. Which, may be fine when you're first starting your career, but after you determine that you're a winning, profitable poker player, at that point, well, now we want to make sure we get to continue having that edge. What's a standard open raise at 5-5 no limit? $15, $20, $25, I don't know. That doesn't really matter all that much. What matters is how do you adjust to whatever your opponents are doing. Click refresh on YouTube. Maybe that'll help. Maybe go watch on Twitch, twitch.tv/Jonathan Little. Maybe that's the solution. Find this on Twitter, twitter.com/Jonathan Little. Maybe it'll be working better there. Not sure. So, one trick I learned a long time ago to ensure you don't go broke, I learned this from Bill Seymour, my very first poker coach, is to always assume you have way less of an edge than you actually have, or than you actually think you have. This applies to business, life, poker, etc. And what I mean by this is, let's say you're playing cash games and you think you win 10 big blinds per hour. Let's just pretend. When it comes to figuring out how much you can actually bank on, maybe assume you make instead like 5 big blinds per hour. Now still no echo because it bounces to the wall and back and forth and the mic is down. Who knows? Who knows what's going on with this microphone? I could move the microphone closer. As I move it closer, it comes in the picture. I don't know why, but I really hate the microphone in the picture. How long do you think it takes to justify calling yourself a winning player? Depends on the number of hands, right? Not necessarily a time frame. Number of hands, number of tournaments, etc., and an ROI display, right? Like if you have a small sample but a gigantic ROI in cash games, at least, if you're making a lot of money in cash games, then you don't actually need all that much of a sample. But in things like tournaments, like say you spike a tournament for 1,000 buy-ins right off the bat, obviously you can't say I'm definitively a winning player. So you need way more volume in tournaments than you do in cash games. Robert seems to really have emotional pain going on. Clearly, we're trying to stay on topic here. Do you have any advice for dealing with emotional pain while having to grind? Example, dealing with a breakup of your loved one. Well, breakups are interesting because I think I've always been good at them, because either I don't want to be with someone or they don't want to be with me. And if they don't want to be with me, do I really want to force them to try to be with me? Not really. I realize some people say that some things are worth fighting for, et cetera, and maybe they are. But if I don't want to be with them, I'm kind of over it. And if they don't want to be with me, then, go do your thing. You may be annoyed that some things happen or frustrated that some things happen. It's tough to say. I'm not so good at this. I'm probably not the best person to answer this question because I am pretty quick to get over things. Because I realize that there are many fish in the sea and that life is great and you don't need to worry about things that are not that detrimental. But I mean, obviously you're going to have like fights and stuff with your loved ones all the time. Everyone does. And you have to try to not dwell on it, resolve to fix it. Every relationship has different ways to fix their fights. Some people just go to bed and wake up the next morning and they're fine. Sometimes they hash it out all night long. Sometimes I don't even know what people do. I try to be rational with my wife, and she tries to be rational with me. Getting dumped is hard to rationalize away. Well, they don't like you. Mark, if you get dumped, it means they don't like you. You can't logic away your emotional pain. You tried it years ago and it didn't work for you. I've been dumped a few times, and I don't know, maybe it gets easier with time. I'm not sure. Maybe I don't get very emotionally wrapped up in things in general. I don't know. Anyway, how do I deal with that? I would tell you not to play poker when you have other stuff on your mind. That's really the right answer. I know a lot of people play poker to escape, but I'm not really a fan of that unless you have to. I always try to have nothing on my mind at all when I'm playing poker besides exactly playing poker. So, like, if you're having emotional problems, like, whatever, like if your family member dies or your cat gets sick or your boss fires you or whatever, it's tough. It's tough to say. Because all you can do is deal with whatever situation you have in the best that you possibly can, right? And it's tough because I realize people have emotional issues with things like this. And I think it's a tough thing. And I don't have the answer for that. I'm certainly not a psychologist. I'm a poker player. And I can tell you if I'm ever going through much, I typically try to stay away from playing poker to some extent. Go work out. It relieves stress. I mean, I'm not sure if that's an answer, but sure, working out's great. How do you increase your ROI? Study, playing games with, playing games that are softer, et cetera, et cetera. You got dumped for your gambling habit. Well, no, you chose gambling over your significant other. And that's okay, right? You made a decision. It's very important to realize that whenever someone breaks up with you, they're saying that I do not like you and or your habits or the way you're treating me, et cetera, et cetera. And if you have habits that you're unwilling to get rid of, then such is life, right? I mean, you chose your habit over your significant other. And that's okay. Maybe it's a good decision, maybe it's a bad decision, depending on the scenario. You're a good dude trying to help Robert with his breakup. I mean, it is what it is, right? I try to answer the questions that come in. Addictions are diseases. Diseases aren't a choice. I mean, this is another tough topic. For example, I have had a period or two in my life where I've been drinking way too much alcohol. Am I addicted? I don't know. Although I do know that I essentially rationalized it away, and now I don't drink alcohol very much at all. Unless I'm going out to a specifically designated time to drink alcohol, like a party in Vegas or something. There's a book I read. Here it is. This Naked Mind. I was turned on to this by another poker player who used to drink significant amounts of alcohol, and now he doesn't drink at all. And this, essentially the way this book works is it gives you logical points and makes you realize, slowly over time, that what you're doing is really dumb. And why do you want to do really dumb things? And then you get off of it. And this kind of topic can be applied to any drug or any addiction by inserting logical statements, etc., etc. Liminal points is what it's called. You figure out the liminal points. For example, drinking helps me loosen up and have better sex. Reading from the book. And the question is, does it actually do that? And the answer is, well, you think it does, but no, it actually doesn't. Right? And if you realize that most of the things pertaining to your addictions are just straight up wrong, then you get over it. Did I have a problem at the sports book? I don't think I really had a problem at the sports book. I think I probably just ran poorly, as any addicted person would say. But you get off of it, right? How do you work out your ROI? You take your profit. Well, you take the amount you cash and divide it by the amount you bought in for. So let's say you play 100 tournaments and you cash for, I don't know, $10,000 and you bought them for $5,000. 10,000 divided by 5,000 is 100%, right? Well, you get 200% back, minus your 100% you put in. How do I feel about Prime Mind? I think it's great. Equilab and Flopzilla, they are very different programs. You're a physician and you disagree with me. Well, okay. It's apparently proven that things like AA are not all that successful, whereas people who they refer to as spontaneously quit actually are capable of quitting because they really fully rationalize why they are quitting. They understand why they are quitting. And it's not because of other people necessarily. It's because it's just clearly the right thing to do. And sometimes it's just clearly the right thing to do. Anyway, I'm just telling you what's worked for me, what's helped me personally, right? And to be fair, I've never had a rock bottom moment where I lost all my money and ruined all my relationships or anything like that. But at the same time, I'd rather not do things that are bad for me, right? You'd rather do things that are good for you. So anyway, going back to hoping for the best but planning for the worst, have a big bankroll. Next, put in volume. Putting in volume is important. If you don't play, then you're not going to have results, and you're not going to have experience, etc., etc. Spontaneously went vegan 3 years ago, overnight, never went back. Yeah. Spontaneously quit cigarettes, never went back. Yeah. Do you condone smoking weed for poker tournaments? I don't condone what people do. People do whatever they want to do. Do I smoke weed before I play a poker tournament? Absolutely not. I've done it a time or two, and it did not go well, to say the least. Tips for restarting. 12 years in and started 4 tournaments ago. It's hard to change in hot spots at the table. Basically, I would tell you to go study at pokercoaching.com. There we have a ton of content, and it'll help you get up to speed. Head over to pokercoaching.com/lucky. We're actually having a big discount right now. And you can do that. Where's the giveaway? Giveaway is not up yet. It'll be up later today. We're giving away that $500 plus a Poker Coaching Premium membership for a year, plus 10 $100 cash prizes. you had a healthy bankroll, then the market took a dump, now you have a less healthy bankroll. Well, you have to ask why was your bankroll in the market, first off. Maybe there's reasons for that, maybe not. A lot of my money was in the market. I don't feel so bad about that. But a lot of it wasn't, right? So I've been withdrawing basically all of the money I have from my cash accounts and getting it ready to load into the market sometime soon. Hopefully it stays in the dumpster for another week or so because it takes a little bit of time to move money in and out of places. So that's fun. All right. You notice that the more volume, the more variance you've experienced. Well, you're probably just going to get through regular swings faster, right? To be fair, maybe you're playing with less of an edge, right? Maybe you are, maybe you aren't. But because if you're putting in more volume, maybe you're playing less focused. But in general, you will just experience the full wrath of poker whenever you put in lots of volume. Never find a site for a free roll. You've been using Poker 2. That's probably what we're going to use, but it's not a high priority at this point. Okay. Should you try to play lots of volume online or live? I don't know, man. Do whatever works for you. I would tell you to play as much as you realistically can. What if all your assets are tied up in property and 401k and you're just not liquid enough to play the stakes you want to play? Well, then change your priorities, right? Don't play the stakes that you think you want to play. Or realize that maybe 25k or 50k of your 401k is actually devoted to poker, and if you do lose the 10k I have, that's up for withdrawal. When's Mr. James going to win a World Series circuit event? I don't know. I don't go to too many World Series circuit events, so I'm not going to be able to put him in those all that often. It's probably more likely to win a World Series bracelet event, assuming they run that this year. All right. Everybody's getting off topic. Okay. Next, keep expenses low. This is vitally important, especially in times where money is tight, where business may decline, where you may get laid off, etc., etc. You want to make sure that your expenses are low so that you have effectively a low burn rate, right? When you talk to startup companies, they have a burn rate. Sometimes it's high, sometimes it's low. When money's flush, it can be high. When money's low, it can be zero or minimal, right? And fortunately, I'm in a business where I make digital products, so they don't actually cost me anything besides the cost of having the content producer make it, and it scales very easily. So I'm actually in a very good business for this situation. That said, I still expect to have some hit to my business because everybody else is going to have less money for the foreseeable future, right? And it's important to recognize that you want to keep expenses low, especially if you are trying to grow your bankroll. If you really want to make sure your bankroll doesn't get depleted, then an easy way to do that is to stop spending your money. If you're spending your money on silly things, on nonsensical things, then you're just donking it away. A lot of people spend money on things that don't even retain their value, right? Like say you like to buy fancy cars. Well, maybe really fancy cars retain value, but if you're buying like $40,000 cars because you like them, it's probably a mistake. If you're buying $100 pair of shoes at the store and wearing them out jogging, well, that money just goes straight into the dumpster, right? Whereas other things like, I guess, super high-end cars, probably no one's doing that here, but if you have super high-end cars, maybe those retain value. If you're buying super high-end sneakers and not wearing them, maybe that retains value. If you're buying cheap Magic the Gathering cards, those go to $0 very quickly. If you're buying expensive Magic the Gathering cards and not playing with them, those retain value, right? So if you're going to be investing money in things, realize that it's either investing or spending. And if you're spending a lot, I would tell you to cut that down. Easy way to spend less money is to not live in an expensive place, right? I realize that everyone wants to live in a nice place to some extent, but at some point you have to make sacrifices to ensure that you have longevity. Everyone seems to really be harping on the fact that I like this book. This book has helped me. Now, I'm not saying it's for everyone, but it's worked for me, and it's worked for at least 3 of my friends who were drinking too much. That's all I can say. I have a case study of 4, and so far it's been successful 4 of 4. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. All right. Everyone thinks that there's like only one answer to things. I think it's very important to realize that there are many, many answers to many, many problems. For example, you can win at poker in many, many ways, right? You can make a good hamburger in many, many ways. You can do all sorts of things in many, many ways, and fixing your problems can be done in many, many ways. Any update on when the push fold app is going to be back up? Very soon. It's actually going to be called the Poker Coaching app, and I'm excited for that. It's been a lot of work, and this is going to be the very, very basic version of it. But yeah, it's going to be up soon. Do you invest in crypto? We're about to be loading in, I can tell you that. That said, I'm not an investment advisor. I don't know anything about investments. I just like to gamble. All right, next. We already mentioned this earlier. Assume you make way less than you actually make. This happens all the time in the real world where someone will have a job making, let's say, $200K a year, and they get laid off. But they're spending like they're making $200K a year, right? And then they can't get another job because there aren't any other great jobs. They just happen to be in one of the best jobs they could be in. And now they can get a job making $140K a year. But now they're making a third as much as they were in the past. And they still have the same bills, right? And that's a problem. So it's important to recognize that you need to plan ahead for things that could go poorly. And the thing is, no one ever thinks things are going to go poorly. Unless it's like obvious, right? Sometimes you're just going to get fired or laid off. Maybe not necessarily fired, because if you're doing everything right, why would they fire you? But you may get laid off on an economic downturn, right? Like right here. Coronavirus hits, and lots of businesses, especially those that deal in the real physical world, they're going to be hurting, right? So if they are hurting, they're going to have to lay off people, which means that if you thought your job was very steady, well, it wasn't, right? Because things are inevitably going to happen. So you always want to make sure you are stockpiling money, not spending all your money, and that you plan as if your expenses are lower than you think they were. Can I do your math question? Probably not. Do you think forward tabling, 25 cent, 50 cent, 5, 10 big blinds an hour, each table is no... I don't even know what this question means. Is that okay to build a bankroll? I guess if you're making money, you can grind up a bankroll at anything. Do whatever you want. No toilet paper or canned food in your town. I went to New York City. Well, I'm in New York City. It's where I live. And I went to the grocery store yesterday, and it was fully stocked, so that's good. Just ordered a bunch of food from Whole Foods. They have everything there. So maybe in New York they're okay, but I do hear in some other places people are going off buying toilet paper. I tried to look up why people are buying toilet paper, and there's actually no rational decision, no rational reason, as far as I can tell. If someone knows the rational reason, let me know. But basically, it's just like mass hysteria, and this happens every time there's any sort of epidemic where people just buy one random thing. It goes viral that you're supposed to buy a random thing, and then everybody just buys that random thing, even if it's actually completely useless to your situation, or basically useless. All right. 35 likes only, says Kevin. You got to hit the like button. Yeah, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you enjoy this show. If you don't enjoy this show, well, go somewhere else. There's a lot of other things you could be doing. They're probably way more beneficial to your life if you're not having a good time. I want to thank you all for joining me today. If you have today off at pokercoaching.com, we have a webinar, a homework challenge. If you have today off and you want to get better at poker, go there and do the homework challenge. Go over to pokercoaching.com/lucky to get a discount on your membership if you buy a year. And do the homework. That'll make you a whole lot better at poker exactly today. So if you're sitting at home because your boss told you to stay home, they said to work from home, but you're not going to work from home. You might as well improve your poker skills, and that challenge is there for you. It's a tough one. I actually had a bit of a tough time getting it done. I think I got it done. Maybe I even messed up somewhere along the way, but it was a good one. It was a tough one. Next. Have a backup plan. This is actually an interesting question where some poker players actively don't want to have a backup plan because they think that if I have a backup plan, I may be more inclined to gamble because if I know that I can fail and it's not the end of the world. And I think that's kind of a silly thought process. A lot of people will do things with booking their flights in and out of poker tournaments. Like some people will always book a return flight home on the day after the main event ends because they don't want to punish themselves, or they want to punish themselves by having to stick around if they lose. Whereas other people will just always book a flight the second they bust, which is what I do. it's like kind of like psychological, right? People think that if I have a backup plan, that it's not the end of the world if I go broke. So I would generally tell you all to not think that way. It's important to have a backup plan. I made a mistake of not having a backup plan, and fortunately, it hasn't bit me in the butt. But at this point, my backup plan has become money in the bank so that I can sustain if things actually do go very poorly for some reason, like if poker just gets banned worldwide or something absurd. But it's important to have a backup plan. Backup plans can come in the form of a skill that you can use to make money elsewhere, right? Like say you're a carpenter in your previous life. Well, you always have that carpentry skill that will allow you to make money in the future if you need to. It may not be as much money that you need to, but it's still money. You can have a college degree, right? You have a college degree, that'll make you a little bit more employable than if you don't, to some extent. Can I do your math question for you? Dino, no. You need to learn to do math yourself. If you Google algebra calculator or something like that, it'll bring up an algebra calculator. You can type in the equation that you need, and it will tell you whatever you need to know. Do a little bit of math. Do a little bit of research. I'm not here to spoon feed everybody. And here I have Ultimate Grinder helping you out anyway. So good. 100, 200. You're in middle position. 2, you raise with ace jack to 600. Loose aggressive calls on the button. Small blind calls. Jack, 6, 5. You bet 1,500. Ooh, that's a big bet. I would definitely bet smaller. Button, 3 bets. Well, this is just a raise. Button's raising because you made the first bet. Button's making the second bet, right? So anyway, button makes a raise to 3,000. He min raises. Small blind shoves 11.5. I would fold now. You Googled algebra and it probably came right up, right? Bankroll Management. Do I have any advice on that? Yes, go to jonathanlittlepoker.com/bankroll. So should you have a backup plan? I think it's good to just have skills in life in general across the board. And if you are a poker player, say you do play poker for a living, you're going to find that you don't actually get to put in all that much volume, and you can spend some of your time learning other skills. And if you're not doing that, you're squandering your time. What a lot of poker players do in their spare time is play video games with their buddies and smoke their marijuana. And inevitably, they are not prepared when poker may go poorly, because everyone doesn't make it in the poker world, believe it or not. I mean, I try to surround myself with mostly very, very strong poker players, yet, some of them still go broke. Some of them make good use of their time, some of them do not. Congrats on your award. Well, thank you very much. We won the Global Poker Personality of the Year. And that's all thanks to you, because you all voted for me. Thank you for voting for me. I appreciate it. Next year, probably going to be up for 2 awards. Same one. And also, Poker Media Content of the Year, because we're going to write a book called Excelling at Tough No Limit Hold'em Games. That'll be out in June, most likely. And it's going to be tough, because I know Maria Konnikova has a book coming out, and she's been working on that for a long time, and it has a lot of hype. But I'm sure it's going to be a good book. Maybe they'll give it to me, though. We'll see. D&B Poker actually won that award this year for this book, Poker and Pop Culture by Martin Harris. This basically goes through all of pop culture and finds poker references in them and talks about it. Like poker on the radio, for example, right? Has a lot of pictures in it. Poker in art. Using cards as collateral. Dwight Eisenhower and his relationship to poker. If you like poker in history, get this book. It won a Global Poker Award. All right. Let's see. You like that Daniel Negreanu got mad at me for the Personality of the Year award. I'm good friends with Negreanu, and he said on his podcast that, basically, what is a personality? That was the question. What is a personality? And Terrence Chan kind of correctly identified that personality doesn't mean the most absurd person. It means the person you like the most. And you all like me. Because I'm certainly not the most absurd person by any means. If anything, I'm the least absurd person. And that's purposefully. So if there was the most absurd person of the year, I would definitely not win. So yeah, that's that. I need a bracelet next. Yeah, I'm about 1 in 20 to get a bracelet at any point at the World Series. So, 20 more years of grinding, maybe I'll get one. Joe Ingram is better. I actually thought Joe Ingram was going to win the award. But, funny enough, Joe Ingram told me he thought I was going to win the award. A month ago. So, it's kind of interesting that we both thought the other one was going to win the award. Got to be confident sometimes, I suppose. Nagano is part of GG Poker, which surprised you. Surprised me as well. Did the award come with a check? It did not come with a check. What did it come with? Where is it? Well, I was going to show you something, but I can't find it. Too much stuff back there. Do you play big live events at Foxwoods? Not very likely. They don't really have big live events at Foxwoods anymore in terms of buy-in. They used to. I won this trophy right here at Foxwoods. And then the next year I took, I think, 7th place in it. I had kings against ace jack. I remember this. It's like the only time I cried at the poker table. Actually, I didn't really cry. I had my sunglasses on back then because I was a scared little boy. And I got it all in with kings against ace jack for like 80% of the chips 7-handed. And he spiked the ace on the river. And it felt like I got punched in the face. And I like started crying a little bit because I guess that's what happens when you get punched in the face. And man, because no one had ever won back-to-back events at the same, or back-to-back WPTs at the same venue. And if I won that hand, I would have had all the chips. Probably would have won. But instead, I didn't win. But that's okay. Okay, what's next? Speaking of keeping expenses low, you want to set aside money for your expenses, right? I think what a lot of people incorrectly do is they think that the money is just going to keep flowing in. I mean, we kind of talked about this already, that people think things are going to continue as they have continued or as they have been in the past. And that's just not how life works. There's this idea that people think poker, or people think life is kind of like chess, whereas in reality, life is way more like a poker tournament with lots of spikes up and down, left and right. And people think life's just going to be a nice, steady uptrend. But I mean, stuff happens, right? You walk outside, you get hit by a bus every once in a while, or you get a random virus, and next thing you know, you're giving it to everybody else. Like life has crazy swings in it. And people do not predict that. They don't think that's going to happen. And things are not always great for forever. There's an article by Jason Calacanis, who wrote a great book on angel investing called Angel. And he wrote this like a year ago, saying that like this is your pilot speaking, get ready for turbulence. Basically saying the markets were way too high and that sometime, and probably the very near future, we're going to get rocked. And he said it's probably going to be some sort of thing in life that happens that you're not going to foresee, and it's going to tank the markets. So be ready. And, well, here we are. I was looking at some of the stocks recently. Like, you can get stocks at the same price they were like 10 years ago. That's insane. Very rarely is that the case. So you give me 25% off anything that's a legitimate thing, and I'll probably buy it. So that's fun. That's what happens every few years. Every few years, something happens. It's true. And if you go for a long time, I don't know if you're like exponentially more likely to have something happen, but it certainly starts to get kind of live, right? You could have predicted that. Anybody could predict that. 20-1 on a bracelet this summer. Would I take that bet? Well, not this summer because there might not even be a summer. But on any individual World Series, given my volume, I would take 20-1. I think that was like a fair line. We did the math here the other day. On a regular year, if you play a lot of events, you're something like 7-1 if you're a good player playing mostly no limit hold'em events. So if you're 7-1 in a normal year, if I'm actually playing a third of the summer, pause due to poor connection. That's not good. Oh, there we go. If I am playing a third of a summer, we're like 20-1. So that's that. Is James off school? No, James is at school. This is his last day of school, actually. Funny enough, they had a 2-week spring break planned already. So today's his last day of school. Tomorrow, well, he'll be off for 2 weeks. What is a grouper fish? A grouper is a fish. Looks kind of slimy like mud. You can Google it. They don't have scales, as far as I know. They can range from relatively small to relatively big. I used to go fishing a lot with my dad. I know at least a little bit about fish. So I think that's all I really had to say about hoping for the best but planning for the worst. Well, actually, all this was mostly about planning for the worst. I more so want to say that you should be hopeful for things to be good and things to be productive, right? That said, I don't think what you hope matters all that much. Hope is a pretty bad strategy. But you should proceed as if things are okay, but realize that things may go poorly at any point in time. But most people proceed like things are okay and they don't realize things would go poorly, and then they're devastated. Like the question earlier, how do you play through poker when you're dealing with emotional distress, like from breaking up? Well, realize you could break up, right? Like I have a great relationship with my wife, but hey, every once in a while she leaves me, and I may not even see it coming. And I would ask for clarification for why, see if we could do anything to rectify the situation, try to rectify the situation, et cetera, and I would go forward in the most productive way I could possibly go. But like that could happen, right? And if it could happen, realize that sometimes it's like not even in your control. If you do everything to the best of your ability and something still happens, what can you do, right? You did your best. How do you determine your starting bankroll amount? Go to pokercoaching.com/bankroll. You're referring to a dating site where you get to date fish. Well, look, if you're into dating fish, I guess a grouper is probably a pretty good fish to date due to the lack of scales. And they range in sizes. You can find a grouper whatever size you'd like to date. So it's a good pick. Definitely pick a grouper over a catfish, right? Or a shark. You wouldn't want to date a shark. You started with $100, now you're up to $1,200 with 16 hours of play. Oh, that's good. Should you wait until you have a larger bankroll? You play 1-3. No, just keep playing 1-3 for quite a while. You would probably want to play 1-3 till you have like at least $6,000, and then you'll have 20 buy-ins for that. Maybe then you take a little shot at 2-5, but no, just keep playing. Just keep playing 1-3 for quite a while. How do you deal with crazy downswings? Realize they don't matter. Keep a big bankroll. Stay sane. Ask yourself, am I actually on a downswing or am I playing poorly? If you're playing poorly, well then play better and have an edge, right? But if you are playing poorly, well now all of a sudden you're a losing player now, right? So if you're a losing player, that's a very different thing. The best players are usually very good at realizing if they are playing well, if they are getting outplayed, if they're straight up playing poorly. And you do that by figuring out how and why you are winning and or losing. By paying attention, right? Pay attention, take notes, share hands with your friends. Should you choose one game as a pro? Probably, at least until you get really good at it. Live online I don't think is that big of a deal, but I would definitely choose tournaments or cash games to some extent. And when you're getting started, probably cash games are the right play just because you can put in a whole lot of volume. Phil Galfond said he would play Hold'em. Well, he didn't want to play my guy Jonathan Jaffe at Hold'em, so take that for what it's worth. I floated the idea by him, and he did not seem interested. Rightfully so, right? You don't want to play a very good heads-up player at No Limit Hold'em if you don't think you're one of the best heads-up No Limit Hold'em players. It's just smart. Is a bankroll $9,000 a good time to start taking shots at 2-5 if you're crushing 1-2? Yeah, I definitely would. I would tell you to put aside like $1,500. Give yourself 3 $500 shots at 2-5. Ideally, play when the game is soft, and that's usually going to be weeknight or weekend hours, nighttime hours, etc., etc. So I would tell you it's probably a good spot to go for a small shot and see what happens. You love my books. Well, thank you. Glad to hear it. You recommend it to your friends. That's really what I like to hear. Share it with your friends. If you all share your experiences with my work to your friends, that'll go a long way to helping me help other people who want to succeed in their life. Your solver numbers 3-bet much less than the charts. Okay. I don't know what that means exactly. Are these numbers just the value, or should you take at least one bluff? I have no clue what you're talking about, Kobe. Send us an email, support@pokercoaching.com. Where are the most fish in America on average? Places where casinos are. Actually, that's probably not true. The fish are really where the casinos are not, but it's way harder to get into games. You haven't had a single losing month since January 2020. Well, that's not all that long. Wait, what are you saying? Oh, last year you won every month, and now you've been on a downswing. I mean, look, it happens. Losing to crazy setup hands. Well, deal with it, right? Sometimes you're going to have crazy setup hands. I had one summer at the World Series where I just got crushed at cash games, and I got it in good like, almost every time and just lost all of them. I think I looked at all of the hands, and I think I played like 16 hands that were like 400 big blind pots or more, and I think I lost like 14 out of 16. All of them were like flips-ish, or I was in better shape. So, I mean, yeah, when that happens, you're going to have a bad summer. That's how it goes. So realize, yeah, that's how it goes. Do you have any training material specifically on satellites? There's a chapter in Excelling at No Limit Hold'em by Bernard Lee. He actually has a satellite book coming out later this year, specifically on satellites. And how do you approach the early stages? Just play pretty much normally, because it doesn't matter all that much. Once you get a double up or two, that's when you really do want to start trying to make sure you get the cash. Mindset fail. Oh, don't have a mindset fail. You allowed a bad thing to break your mindset. Well, mindset's an interesting idea because all you can do is just make the best decisions you can possibly make. And ideally, you want to compare that to your best decisions you can possibly make when you are sane. And you need to make sure that you're sane. You're gutted that a tournament is canceled. Well, it's tough. I think tournaments probably should be canceled right now. I don't know if canceled is what they should be. Maybe they need to be postponed. The tough thing about poker, though, is that there are lots of tournaments all the time, so postponing doesn't really work. Because there's always going to be something else right around the corner. But I would tell you to try to not wrap up prestige in any individual series and any individual tournament, stop, etc., etc. I know a lot of people really want to play, let's say, WPT Barcelona because they love Barcelona and they love the WPT. Realize there's going to be another tournament in Barcelona in a few months anyway, and it's going to be equally good, and that's going to be that. So try to not get wrapped up emotionally in things that don't really matter all that much, especially recognizing that the health of you and all the other humans is way more important. So spend this time studying, right? We have a sale going on for you right now at pokercoaching.com/lucky. Go check that out. Or VPN is the best way to play. No, do not VPN in. If you there's a saying, don't poop where you eat. Don't poop where you eat. I have learned many things through doing a lot of things right and wrong in life, and one of them is that you just need to do good things and not break the rules. Now, if it's not a rule, then it's okay. But for the most part, most sites have rules very definitively against doing things like that. Don't break the rules. Imagine a casino kicking out its players. You were gathering stacks yesterday and they closed the casino. It's the only way to get you to leave, Louis Philippe. All right. Poker and sports can wait. Well, the nice thing about poker is that realize pretty much no matter where you are in the world, there is some way to play poker somewhere, maybe on one of the shady sites. It's not exactly what you're going for, but you can pretty much still play poker now, so that's good. Just online. You can't go to the casino. What's my latest book? Mastering Small Stakes No Limit Hold'em, but I have a new one coming out later this summer called Excelling at Tough No Limit Hold'em Games. How do you enter the giveaway? Giveaway will be available later today. It'll be at pokercoaching.com/giveaway, most likely. Follow me on Twitter, and it'll be there. But so you're trying to say, can you VPN in and play in Nevada? No, that's not how that works at all. Frank, look, if you don't know what you're talking about, or whoever said you can VPN in, realize that's not how it works. You have to actually go there and physically get set up. You can't just VPN into PokerStars and try to play on PokerStars. First off, they'll ban you, and also you have to have a residence somewhere else. It's not just as easy as downloading a $1 VPN and you can play anywhere in the world. It's not how it works. All right. Well, we're going to wrap it up for today. I want you all to stay safe and stay smart. We will definitely be back here Monday, bright and early, 9 a.m. Eastern Time. We will also have a webinar today at 2 p.m. for the poker coaching students. Go there, sign up. If you don't like it, cancel, and I'll give you a refund. If I do not help you get better at poker, I do not deserve your money. I'm not one of the training sites that will charge you $1,500 up front for 6 hours of content and then not update it and not reply to your emails. That's not how we operate here. Instead, I'm here for you all the time. I do these coffee shows where I answer your questions, I'll answer your emails, I'll reply to you on Twitter. I upload loads of new content all the time, and we are here for you. Mastering Small Stakes is at your latest book. That came out, I think, in 2018. Yeah, 2018. Depends on what you call my book. What is my book? Because we have Modern Poker Theory. I didn't actually write this, but I did rewrite this. The words are all Michael Acevedo's, but I went through and made it as pretty as I could possibly make it. I learned a lot making this book. So is that my book? I don't know. Let's see what else. We have Mastering Mixed Games by Dylan Lindy. Mostly his words. but I did a whole lot of work on it. Believe it or not, I do a lot of work on a lot of books. And so these two came out this year. I get no credit, though. I don't want the credit. It's not my work. So that's that. 13 likes on YouTube. That can't be right. We have to have more than 13 likes on YouTube. I'm sure we have more than 13 likes. If it's only 13 likes, I'm just going to pack it up and go home. So anyway, these two books came out last year that I had a lot of work involved. And this year we have Excelling at Tough No Limit Hold'em Games. I'll show you the cover if you're on not Instagram. Fortunately, Instagram doesn't make this easy for me to show you the cover. Actually, can I show you the cover? Let's see. How would I do that? Oh, let's see. This is not a good idea. No, this is not a good idea. That doesn't work. Anyway, we have the book Excelling at Tough No Limit Hold'em Games. This will be out in June. Me with many of the absolute best online players and coaches in the world. So I'm very, very happy with this book. Very, very happy. Very, very happy that we get to work with many of the best players in the world and they want to work with me. Turns out if you do good work, people will want to work with you. And whenever I made the first Excelling at No Limit Hold'em, multiple of those people there actually who worked at that book told me that they would not have written that book with anyone else in the world, but they knew I would make it easy enough on them and they knew that I would get the project done. And sure enough, I did. Have I ever played on ACR GG? I've never played on GG. I have played on ACR about 2 times, and I definitely do not plan on playing there again. Don't want to stream while you're playing on those sites? No, absolutely not. Never in any world would I promote a site like ACR that could go down at any point in time that is operating shadily. A good way to screw up your relationship with the reputable companies is to work with the not reputable companies. So absolutely not. GG... They seem to be more reputable. You can't play on there from America, so I would not play on there from in America, clearly. So that's that. Will that book be on cash or tournaments? Mostly tournaments. So yeah, I'm definitely not going to be actively promoting a site or a company or anything that I would not fully vouch for. And I think that's an important life skill that I have learned. What sites do I play on? I play on Party Poker and Poker Stars. Not when I'm in America. Believe it or not, I'm not sitting here all day, every day playing online poker. You can't write all these books. You can't write all these books. You can't win awards. You can't do that whenever you are grinding poker for small stakes on an American-only poker site. It's very, very difficult to do. I spend my days working hard to make good content for all of you. People ask how I'm so productive. Well, I sit there and I work all day every day. Maybe I should do a webinar on productivity. I was on the Poker in Your Ears podcast yesterday. Check that out. I retweeted it. It was fun. And they asked, basically, how do I get stuff done? How do I get so much stuff done? Well, the answer is I don't waste my time, right? Like, imagine the free time I have is from 9 a.m. till 6 p.m. First off, there are no big tournaments from 9 a.m. till 6 p.m. online. So what, I'm going to sit there and play small stakes games and try to make like $20 an hour? Is that really the best use of my time? No, it's not the best use of my time at all. You're looking forward to my next vlog. It'll be out soon. I have the rough draft actually on my computer. I just watched it this morning and it looks pretty good. Given I didn't really go to record a vlog, and then I realized really quickly, oh my God, I didn't actually record a vlog. But we did our best with the random content I have. You love my Instagram. Well, thank you. We do our best. You can follow me on Instagram at jcardshark. Follow me on YouTube at Poker Coaching. So there you go. All right, I'm going to pack it up. Hope you all have a great day. Again, check out pokercoaching.com/lucky. Sign up. Come to the webinar today. At 2 p.m. Eastern Time, we're going to be going through lots of answers to the homework challenge. It was actually a really tough one. It gave me problems, and I'm sure it's going to give everybody else problems. Am I playing the World Series 2020? If they have it, I already have my room booked. Should probably actually unbook my room. Let them list it at a way cheaper price and then rebook it, shouldn't I? Not a bad idea. It's not very nice, but not a bad idea. All right. Have a great day. Enjoy yourselves. Make the most of it. Stay safe, everyone, please. Trust medical professionals and do whatever they say within reason, right? Don't be absurd, but be within reason. If you're coughing, don't go start licking all the banisters and all the hotels. It's probably not a good idea, right? Unlike your poker bankroll, you only have one life. And also everyone around you only has one life. And you can't really like share it to help the other ones. So protect each other. Goodbye, have fun. I love you all.